Hello, good evening. This is Keen from Davao City, and the debate has just ended for the vice presidentials. And first of all, I would like to commend CNN Philippines for organizing this debate for vice presidentials. It's very organized, it's way smooth compared to the previous presidential debates. And of course, the questions are really relevant and too generic as usual. And they were actually really following the rules properly, so it started on time, though it ended quite late than the usual, but at least I think the issues were tackled properly and they were facilitated properly despite the noise. But so I'm really happy about it. So okay, I've actually presented my expectations for the first video. I've given my opinion for the second video during their break time on their answers and their assessment and their answers. But this time I will be talking about my final assessment for this debate. So after 2 hours and almost 2 or 3 hours of debate, I really can see that the discourse was somehow fruitful, and I see personally how these presidential vice presidentials trying to work out for their platforms and their beliefs and issues. So first of all, I'll give you my point on their platforms or their achievements. Well, I can say that the vice presidentials are trying to address issues through their laws. I think it's because most of them are from the legislative department, so they keep saying that they are trying to answer the questions or issues through laws. However, again, it's not really just on the creation of laws, but it's really on the implementation, which is unfortunately it's really a poor work for every one of them. It's not really even sustainable. Some of them are not even sustainable, so I think that's what they really need to work on. For example, they've talked about corruption. One of their answers is through FOI, and of course accountability and any types of disclosure will actually help. Well, that's somehow true, but I think it's just only one point of the answer that they really need to do or to address. Of course, they've talked about political dynasty or the SK reform. However, they've also talked about the BBLs, which is somehow a failure because of this vested interest by some parties. However, in terms of their plans for their term, for the upcoming term, if they will be voted, or in the previous terms that really had with them as the public officials, being the senators and being on the other positions. Based on that one, I really can say that they are just really whining, or there are lots of complaint. They really give a lot of complaints for that in terms of the transportation system, in terms of course the FOI bills and whatsoever. But it's really weird because they're supposed to be on the government side, then they should have addressed it long time ago. So I think there's a big question for them. And okay, so in terms of the character, well, let's just make it in general. I can say, okay, given this condition we're in, all of these candidates are really willing to bring change, and at the same time they are really giving a lot of efforts to help people. So unfortunately, I cannot see concrete answers from almost all of them. It's just really way too generic, and yeah, they're just hazy bits of platforms. But what I really can say is that on their characters, while they were answering the questions, I can see how they are in terms, perhaps not really on the leadership, but in terms of how they would address such things. So let's start off with Escudero. Honestly, he's too rhetoric. He's like the Mr. Who got during the debate, but he's too, how should I say this one? He is too playing safe. I've been hearing that through his answers, so I've been just hearing some. I can see he's one of the politicians who can actually give empty promises. I'm sorry for that, but I mean, I think he will still be okay with the senatorials, but I'm not sure if he will be good in the executive position. Second, with Robredo, I can say I really can see her sincere interest in terms of helping those who are needed or for those marginalized. And she said that if she will be on the vice president, if she will be the vice president, if given the task, she will be in the anti-poverty programs. She will look into it. So I think that's a good one, but I think she still needs more experience, and I don't want her to be tempered. I mean, sincere um her sincere approach to helping people. I don't want it to be tempered by political political, let's say, um, okay, I don't want her to be tempered by some personal, that's it, personal interest from her other parties and for big people. So in terms of Marcos, I can say that he is one of the modern politicians who really use records to deal with issues and to see his capability as a leader. He keeps saying that he's had a lot of work for the 27 years, to be exact, 27 years as a public servant. Yes, but he wasn't really able to answer well in terms of the issues on his family. So, but I think I can still give credit to him. Honasan, on the other hand, he is reactive to the questions, though the answers were looking really ideal, but I still cannot see his way of leadership if he will be the vice president. Same with Trillanes, but he will, in Trillanes' case, he will be the Mr. Police. That's what he wants to say, but that's what I also can see on him. But I think it's not just only looking at the other people's errors, but actually on him being proactive in terms of leadership. So I think that's what he really lacks. And of course, lastly with Cayetano, well, honestly, in terms of the platforms of this six VPs, VP presidentials rather, Cayetano actually is really consistent with their platform, with the upcoming presidential candidate, Mayor Duterte Digong. I mean, he was throughout the debate, he was the one who's criticizing a lot of issues and so on. I think it might be because of his experience in the legislative, which I think I found it somehow might be true, and especially on the issue when on the corruption case where he talked about some politicians are not there when they should be there on the hearings. So honestly, Cayetano has actually delivered his platform. I mean, the Tandem's platform, which is really leadership, showing leadership and, of course, political will for the country, for the politicians. So, and it was really also admirable to him, for him when he was asked if what would be his position if he will be elected as the vice president. I've been really looking forward to his answer, and it was really good because he said, of course, VPs are not spare tires, but if he will be given a chance, he will be checking for the or he will be on the monitoring team of the platforms with his president, which is hopefully Digong, which means he will be on the check and balance part, which is I think is the most important one because it will involve monitoring and sustainability, and I think that's what everyone needs here in the country. So honestly, I'm really looking forward to these candidates actual performance, be it if they won or even if they not. So okay, that's it, and I hope you have learned something from here. I know I've just been blabbing, I've just been bubbling anything about what I want to say, but Of course, as part of the youth sector, we're looking forward to proactive and sustainable and strategic leadership from these presidentials and vice presidentials. So once again, thank you so much NYC and Google Philippines for this collaboration, and I hope there will be more of this for the presidentials. And of course, let's vote properly, vote wisely. And this is it for VP Debate Google Mumuna. Thank you.